It has finally happened. After a year of preparing, we are ready to go on Berts Big Adventure Volume 2. Once a year, we take children with chronic and terminal illnesses down to Disney World with their families, and we pay for everything, and we do it A-class all the way. I mean, it takes quite a bit of money to do because some of these families wouldn't be able to afford a trip like this,
right?
And we want to give them the experience of a lifetime, so we don't skimp on anything.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when did you last let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, take you wonder by wonder, over, sideways, and under, on a magic carpet ride.
Most of these families have never flown before. So not only are they flying for the first time, they're flying for the first time in this VIP private jet.
Right.
They're not going to be able to do a mainline flight ever again. The firefighters yesterday were shooting water over the airplane as we were leaving. I mean, they do that for military servicemen going overseas.
A dazzling place I never knew. But when I'm way up here, it's crystal clear that now I'm in a whole new world with you.
Well, again, thank you to you and to everybody at Delta Airlines that has made this happen.
And I have to say, congratulations on the staff that you have and the staff that you've put together, because they are the best in the business. They have been incredible to work with and have bent over backwards for everything that we've needed. Every little last logistical plan, they've just been top notch.
I just wanted to tell you how impressed I am, not only with all that you all have done to bring the community together, but also your listeners have really been so instrumental in making all this happen. So we're just glad to be a part of the team.
One of the things I'm starting to realize more so this year is just the daily complications that these families have to go through. When you have this many children that have wheelchairs, you got to think, like, we didn't really plan for this, but there's a lift that's involved, and you have to do this 3 different times, and the obstacle of getting the kids on and getting them off, it really, just for the short time that we spent with them, really kind of makes you rearrange your schedule, so you can imagine with these families what that's like on a day-to-day basis.
These families go through something totally different. They are having to get in the wheelchair, set up the wheelchair, make sure the battery's charged for the day, and everything has to be wheelchair accessible too.
I think the thing is that all these families don't have the privilege of spontaneity. You know,
Yeah.
they can't just off the cuff do
Yeah.
something. They have to plan ahead for every single thing they do.
Yeah, Animal Kingdom Lodge is Walt Disney World's newest hotel, and if you've come to Disney a couple of times and you think you've seen it all, you need to come here and check out this hotel because it's awesome. One of the reasons why we picked this hotel this year was, what kid doesn't love animals, right? And the greatest thing about Animal Kingdom Lodge is that as soon as the kids wake up, right outside their hotel room are zebras and giraffes and all sorts of these exotic animals. And what kid isn't going to dig that?
We got to do campfire stories the other night, which I thought was really cool. They have this place called Arusha Rock, and they have this fire pit outside, and so they have the campfire going. It's right when the sun is setting, and all the kids were able to gather around the campfire, and one of the cast members here from the Animal Kingdom Lodge tells campfire stories by the fire, and it was just, it's just so awesome.
Who's the leader of the club that's made for you and me? ELEPHANTS are elephants, elephants, elephants.
Forever let us hold our banner high, 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 high. Come along and sing a song and join the jamboree. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Hey there, hi there, ho there, you're as welcome as can be. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse, forever let us hold our banner high, 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 high. Come along and sing the song and join the jamboree. M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E.
There are some kids that really seem to transform to me from the first minute on this trip until now. And when I said that, I was thinking of Chuck all the way.
Yeah.
All the way.
He's really been very outspoken with you all day yesterday. It's like, where's Bert? Even though he was sick, he wasn't feeling very well. It was, where's Bert? Where's Bert? I want my friend.
I didn't realize the first 24 hours we were hanging out with Chuck, I didn't realize that Chuck could talk because he was kind of on the shy side. But let me tell you about hour number 25.
He doesn't stop talking.
Christopher is 11 years old right now, and he's confined to a wheelchair. And you know how brutal kids are to each other, right? Well, imagine being 11 years old in a wheelchair and about 200 pounds, maybe more?
Mm-hmm. About 200.
About 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to the family a little bit yesterday, and they're very open about what they go through on a day-to-day basis. This kid has a hard life. His mom has to go to the school twice a day and take him to the bathroom because nobody at his school knows how to do it properly. And this is what he has to deal with every single day. And you can imagine, his mom's just a little thing also, and she is picking him up and putting him in bed and putting him back in that wheelchair, no less than 200 pounds, all by herself.
Yeah, she is such a champion. And I talked to, I'm going to cry on this story, but I talked to his mom because we were doing a lot of logistics planning the trip, and there was a lot going into the weight of the wheelchair and the weight of the battery charger and the battery pack and all these things that she has to travel with, and was talking to her about it, and she just said, you know, I know about his illness. I know this. And in my head, I try to come to terms with it. And she said, in my head, I have come to terms with the fact that he will deteriorate over time, but she said, I just try to always fix things. And so she had several doctor visits right before our trip to make sure everything was going to be okay. And everything just keeps falling apart.
Yeah.
And it's horrible to say that because you want to have so much hope for them. You want to have so much hope. But she just said, I want to fix it for him.
What are the tears for already?
It's just watching all of them. We've had such fun and having to leave. Christopher's never around any other handicapped kids. Mm-hmm. And it's just, you know, we got to go back to school, and he's going to be the only one. And he's got friends at school, but it's just not like what it's been here. And he's opened up more here than I have ever seen him open up and talk to anybody or do anything. He has had such fun, and especially in that pool.
Well, we get Christopher in this pool, and he's feeling great. I mean, he's telling me, I mean, the excitement in his voice was getting me all excited because, like, this feels great. Like, I can move my legs a little bit, and I can move my arms a little bit. So there's Christopher in the pool, and he's chatting about what he's going to be when he grows up, and he's chatting about video games and stuff, and I kind of look over his left shoulder, and there is Mama just bawling.
It's just so good to see him and just doing anything, enjoying himself and laughing, and he would never, ever, ever get near water like this or even want anybody to get him in a pool or anything. It's just a trip watching him. It makes me feel really good watching him be able to do something and somebody taking time with him for him to be able to do this. I see my son in the swimming pool with Bert pushing him around, just floating and smiling. Hey! And having a good time, something he never does. He never gets to do. It's great. It's great. And I'm so glad for somebody to take the time to give us this trip for Christopher to be able to do something like this.
The Smiths, Justin and Paula, have an adorable little girl named Kelsey. Just an adorable little girl.
She's all right.
She's just all right. How you guys doing?
We're doing fine.
You had a good time?
Yeah, we've had a wonderful time.
Have you?
Yes, we have.
She's just adorable. And in looking at Kelsey, you wouldn't think that there was ever any problem with her. I mean, you talk about a little girl that's got as much energy as any kid that we've ever had on this trip. And looking at her, you just wouldn't think there's anything wrong.
Right. Oh, yeah, I know it. She's been through a lot, though.
Yeah, what's she been through? First of all, what does she have, and what has she been through?
She was born with transposition of the great arteries, ventricular spectral defect, and pulmonary stenosis, which is a great big hole in the middle of her heart. She has a metallic valve put in. She's had 2 open heart surgeries. Her last surgery was about 2 years ago. She was put on life support for 6 hours. We about lost her. So she's our miracle child.
Dylan is 5 going on 18, let me just tell you. Because, I mean, Dylan is a little charmer. Now, he has struggled with leukemia, and he and his family, I mean, his little sister, big brother, parents, we all hung out at Magic Kingdom all day on Saturday, and he is just such a special kid because I think that when a child has to suffer, these struggles like with a disease, and and I've said before, when you have a disease, usually it's the loneliest experience you can have. I know as an adult, I can't imagine as a kid, and the kid and the family, why we bring the whole family here is because they all struggle together with this. I think Dylan's maturity comes from what he has seen and what he's gone through, because he's gone through chemotherapy, he's lost his hair, he's gone through the struggles of he had a bone marrow biopsy. I mean, he's done all these really horrific medical things that has saved his life, but is something that no kid should really have to go through.
You hear the word leukemia, everywhere, but you really don't understand it. You don't know what it is. You don't know what it does to the child, other than when you're sitting there looking at your child going from 100 miles an hour every day from the time he gets up to the time he goes to bed, to where he didn't even want to get up out of bed. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to move. He didn't want to, he had no energy for anything. Just to hear him laugh, I mean, he has laughed and he has smiled through most of all of this. That's the only way we could get through any of it. But, I mean, this is a deep belly laugh he has here.
It's not just a trip to Disney World. I mean, like I said, from here, I mean, Jackson's made new friends already. Like I said, him and Dylan are they're the buds. They're the buds right now. And even seeing some of the other ones. I mean, he's playing with everybody. I mean, with Bobby. He's making new friends. He's doing things he could have never done before. I mean, it's not just a trip to Disney World.
You've got a friend in me. You've got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me. Yeah, you got a friend in me. And as the years go by, a friendship will never die. You're gonna see it's our destiny. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me.
Obi's 11 years old, and he has cystic fibrosis. It's basically a illness that affects the smaller lobes in the lungs, and it also affects his pancreas and other smaller intestines in the system.
So now here Obi sits, and he's got, how do I explain this? He's kind of got like what looks like a life preserver on, and it's hooked up to white hoses that go into what looks to me like this 1950s machine with these big dials on it. And Obi is sitting in a chair right now, and he's kind of, the vest, I guess, vibrates. So he's sitting there vibrating for about the last 15 minutes. And what exactly does that do?
Well, what that does, back before we came up with the vest, you used to have to take your hand and cup it like you were going to drink water out of it, and pound on their chest. And
just to break up stuff?
What that would do is you did it in different places on his chest, and it would take like 45 minutes to an hour. And it's painful for him. It's painful for us. And, it's just uncomfortable for everybody. And they came up with this wonderful machine, and it does it all for you, all at the same time. It only takes them about a half an hour, and it's 250% more productive than anything we ever did.
I know that he wants to do things, and he can't. And that frustrates me because I can't tell him just go do it. Go do it anyway. You can do it. And sometimes he gets to where he won't do anything. And that makes it even harder.
We've seen a million doctors. I mean, everything from geneticists to neurologists to orthopedic to you name it. And they just, like I said, they know some of what's going on, but no one can put their finger on exactly what's happening. We know that he has difficulty with his extremities. Like I said, his mind's not giving that signal to say, feet, get up and move. And it really, it's for the most part now, it's really from the waist down. It's just the low muscle tone. It's that he doesn't know where his extremities are in space.
Spinal muscular atrophy is a form of muscular dystrophy. Basically, she has weak muscles. It's hard for her to walk around, lift things, bend down, pick things up from the floor. If it weighs more than, a paper clip, she can't pick it up by herself. She has to have a lot of assistance. There's nothing you can do for spinal muscular atrophy. There's no cure. There's no treatment, there's no nothing. You just know that you have it and you adapt from there. She's going to progressively get worse. Like at this point right now, she can walk. Eventually she won't be able to walk. Then eventually she won't be able to crawl. Eventually she won't be able to hold her head up. And then eventually she won't be able to feed herself or go to the bathroom by herself or anything. She'll be back to being a little baby, like when she was born, and have to have everything done for her.
The muscle she has right now is the strongest she's ever going to get. And it's going to seem like she's getting weaker, but actually what's happening is she has the same amount of muscle, but she's getting bigger. So the baby muscles can't carry an adult, So it's seeming like she's getting weaker, but then eventually they do actually atrophy where she doesn't have any muscles.
For me, it was the most emotional part of the weekend when this character Tony comes out and he announces that all of the kids are going to be grand marshals in the parade.
Well, unbeknownst to our dear friends there, some of their special guests that are visiting with the Berts Big Adventure have been made our grand marshals of today's parade here in the park. Here for how many ever years, and not once have Tony, ever ridden in the parade, so this is a big hoo-hoo, okay?
What they did after that was they individually announced the children and the honor of making them grand marshals, and I was so overcome by watching the family members and watching the kids as their names were rattled off and everybody was cheering for them, that it was one of the most special moments we've had on our trips. It was incredible. Then I got the honor of riding with Lacey here in the parade. So as the first riding in the parade, Lacey knows that it's only appropriate that you must go out and look like a princess. And here she comes in her new beautiful blue Cinderella dress to be the grand marshal in the parade, and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was like the princess coming to the ball.
Yeah,
exactly
man. It was. And she sat in my lap the entire time, and she never, ever, not one time put her hand down. She was waving at everybody on both sides, and everybody was screaming out at her, "Hi, Cinderella, hey, princess!" And there was Lacey waving back and forth.
When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. If your heart is in your dream, no request is too extreme. When you wish upon a star, as dreamers do, like a bolt out of the blue, fate steps in and sees you through. When you wish upon a star, your dreams come true.
is over now, and Lacey is with her mom and dad, and somebody brings over a glass slipper and gives it to her.
Oh, cool.
Just lost it. I just lost it. And it was, I mean, hanging out with her for those 15 minutes in that parade and hanging out with all of the kids as grand marshals, giving them that kind of experience was something I'll never, ever, ever forget, and I'll always cherish. It was awesome.
It has so far exceeded anything we could have ever imagined. From a red carpet to getting on the plane to coming in here, and I was looking around and it's just unbelievable. The people have treated Jackson like an absolute king. To come down here in a setting where he is considered normal, where in other situations you go and he is the one that everyone turns to look at because he's in a wheelchair. Now, I mean, people still look at him, but only because that's Jackson. You know, that's the cool kid. But this, we have never experienced anything like this in our entire lives.
He's wanted to go to places like this as long as I can remember. And he has asked us, he's wanted to go to all these kind of places and just hadn't had the money. He's not laughed this much in years. Well, really, I don't even remember the first time he's really laughed this much. And he's really enjoying himself. And that's the first time I mean, he's like a light. And he's never lit up like a light. And you can see it in his eyes.
We've never taken a vacation like this. The last vacation we took, my wife got an inheritance, and we went to Tampa and spent a week down there at one of the little cheap motels, and we went to Sunken Gardens and a couple other places. We spent about $400 on a whole week, you know, and people here spend that in 2 hours.
You wouldn't believe. We are so grateful for this because we know not just financially that we couldn't do it on our own, but just seeing how much help we're getting here with all of the people that are helping us with our luggage, with the kids, helping us transfer Lacey from the stroller to the bus, getting the stroller onto the bus. Just with all the help that we're getting, we wouldn't have that if we went on our own, not just financially. You know, it's all of the help and how people act when they see that you're, you know, with Berts Big Adventure. Oh, okay, yeah, come on through. You know, you get the special passes, you get the special everything, and you feel like you're on top of the world.
This is Jackson. When God blessed our family 6 years ago with your arrival, we never anticipated the plans He had for your life.
Our hearts almost stopped when at your 2-month checkup we heard the words, "Something's wrong."
Time stood still for what felt like an eternity, and all we could think was what we did wrong. No matter how many times we've been told it's nothing we did, we will always wonder.
We have stood at your hospital bedside so many times since you were 2 months old, watching as doctors and nurses poked at you over and over.
Sometimes you would cry, sometimes you were just too tired to cry. You would look at us as if to ask, when will they stop?
We could only tell you how brave you were and how much we love you. You have endured more in your 6 years of life than we have ever had to go through. We would give anything to take your place.
Rather than let it get you down, you always seem to keep going. It's funny. We have always believed it was our job to teach you. You, however, have taught us about bravery, courage, and perseverance.
You never hesitate to make someone laugh or to put a smile on someone's face. Over the past year, you have had to sit by as your baby sister has come into the world and commanded our attention.
You've been such a loving and patient big brother. Your time has finally come, Stinker. It's time for you to be rewarded for all you've been through. It's your turn to wear the smile.
We finally get to take you on a trip that's meant just for you. We feel so privileged to join you on your magical journey and hope that you will never forget this experience.
Jackson, you know what we mean when we say, I love you forever, I like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you will be. We love you to the moon and back. Mommy and Daddy.
You guys have an awesome kid there. You really do.
This is from Mommy. My dearest Lacey, there are not enough words to express the love that I have for you. The ones that come to mind right now are more than life. Do you remember all those pennies we threw in the wishing well? And your wishes to meet Cinderella and see her castle, they came true. Well, the wish that I made every time that you threw pennies in the well still did not come true. And that wish is for you not to have a disability and to be able to run and play with William and your friends. I love you with all my heart and soul. Love, Mom.
Dylan, on March 31st, 1998, our lives were blessed. You changed our world. You made us realize that each day is a gift, and to be able to spend it with you is the greatest gift of all. You've been able to find a way to enjoy every minute of every day, no matter what your day-to-day may be. You are the greatest, and we love you so very much. We would like to say we're sorry. Sorry for your illness. They have told us it is not our fault. But we can't help but feel the way. There should be something we could do. We would like to say thank you. Thank you for giving us the chance to love you. There can never be an expression large enough to let you know just how much we love you. You are my sun, you are my moon, my heartbeat. You are my hero. I want to be just like you when I grow up. You made my life worth living. Your face is my sunshine. Dylan, I love you. I wish I could take all your pains and all your treatments for you. I would take all of them if you did not have to endure any of it. If only wishes, you are the best.
As we prepare ourselves to go on Bert's Big Adventure, we want to take this opportunity to tell you how proud we are of you. We watch you go through life every day with cystic fibrosis. Some days aren't so bad, others are very difficult. Your mom and I hear you coughing and coughing. Sometimes until you lose your breath. So many times we wish we could take it all away. I mean, how embarrassed you are when you get, how embarrassed you get when you have to take your medicine at school and in restaurants, when we go out. Every day you have to come home early from playing with your friends. You can do all your medicines and breathing treatments. But despite it all, you go through every day with hope, kindness, and enthusiasm. You've wanted to go to Disney World for as long as we can remember. And because of financial problems, we've never been able to take you. You deserve this trip for so many reasons. We're overwhelmed at all the kindness at the Bert Show and all its supporters has shown us. This will be our opportunity to slow down and just enjoy each other and have fun. You're such a continued inspiration for the whole family. No matter what you have to go through, you're always concerned with everybody else. We're so blessed to have you for our son. And always remember, you deserve everything wonderful you get out of life. I love you, son.
The one thing that I kind of locked in on that is that sometimes he's embarrassed to take his medication. Obi, you have nothing to be embarrassed about. You are one of the most special kids I have ever hung out with, man. And every second that I got to hang with you and every second that I got to hang with you and your family is a moment that I will never forget. You should never be embarrassed who you are, man. Never. You have already fought through so much stuff that other kids your age will never, ever have to know about. And you are an inspiration to everybody that you meet. Never be embarrassed about who you are, okay? You're awesome.
Thank you.
The place itself is magical. It truly is. And then I think for these families to be able to come here, we've said it over and over again, but just to see not only the kids be able to feel like regular kids, because I think the reason when you have a disability that you don't feel like a regular kid is because you're usually different from everybody else in your class. There's no difference here. All the kids are with other kids that have struggles too, so they can feel like regular kids. And then the parents don't have to feel awkward because, you know, they are with other parents that have similar struggles. So I just think it is truly where everybody can feel a part of a group. And I think that is just a human condition. I think that is just important to everybody to feel a part of something. And I think that's what this trip's all about.
There's so much joy, and they're just kids. You know, they're just normal kids having fun and playing with each other, and there's just nothing sad about it. You know, we get sad and we get emotional about this trip, but there's nothing sad about it. And I think it's the thing that hits me over the head at the end of the trip. It did last year, and it has the same way this year too. There's just so much joy in this group of people, and I'm just really glad to be a part of it.
All of the parents. I mean, you guys read those letters, and it's heartbreaking that you blame yourself at all for anything that's wrong in your kid's life. I mean, you guys are perfect. You know, you're not. You shouldn't feel any guilt or any sadness. I mean, you guys are great to do. I mean, we dealt with it for 4 days, and we're all exhausted.
I have the same emotions I had last year when we left the twins. And I have the same thing looking at this guy right here. I'm like, Chuck, I want to pick you up and go on another ride and hang out. Maybe we will someday, but thanks to Disney World, the families, everybody, you guys are all awesome.
I'm often asked to describe the experience of raising a child with a disability, to try to help people who have not shared that unique experience, to understand it, to imagine how it would feel. It's just like this. After months of eager anticipation, the day finally arrives. You pack your bags, and you're off you go. Several hours later, the plane lands. The stewardess comes in and says, "Welcome to Holland." Holland, you say? What do you mean Holland? I signed up for Italy. I'm supposed to be in Italy. All my life, I've dreamed of going to Italy. But there's a change in the flight plan. They've landed in Holland, and there you must stay. The important thing is that they haven't taken you to a horrible, filthy place full of famine and disease. It's just a different place. So you must buy new guidebooks, and you must learn a whole new language, and you will meet a whole new group of people you have never met before. It's just a different place. It's slower paced than in Italy, less flashy than Italy, but after you've been there for a while, you look around and you begin to notice that Holland has windmills, and Holland has tulips, and Holland even has Rembrandts. But everyone you know is busy coming and going from Italy, and they're bragging about what a wonderful time they had there. And the rest of your life you will say, yes, that's where I was supposed to go. That's what I had planned. The pain of that will never go away, because the loss of a dream is a very significant loss. But if you spend your life mourning the fact that you didn't get to Italy, you may never be free to enjoy the very special, the very lovely things about Holland.
When you're the best of friends, having so much fun together, you're not even aware you're such a funny pair. You're the best of friends. Life's a happy game. You could clown around forever. Neither one of you sees your natural boundaries. Life's one happy game. When you're the best of friends, sharing all that you discover. When these moments have passed, will that friendship last? Who can say there's a way? Oh, I hope it never ends. 'Cause